All right, hello everybody. Today what we're going to do is I'm going to do your activator up here on the board. It's multi-step inequalities. I know we did these before, we haven't done them in a while, but I'm going to work out all four of them for you. So if you need to watch this, you can. If not, then do these on your own, and then your next assignment is going to be the scientific notation problems that are posted on Google Classroom. So that's all you have for today is this activator of multi-step inequalities if you want to watch it with me. And then you can go on and do your scientific notation assignment, which is just reinforcing what we've been learning for this week. All right, so let's start with our first problem. It's 5x plus 9. And it's going to be greater than or equal to 3x plus 7. All right, so a multi-step inequality is not any different than a multi-step equation, other than the fact I have an inequality symbol here. And I need to remember my golden rule of an inequality is that when I multiply or divide by a negative, I flip the sign. Okay, that's the only difference. We work this problem the same way, we just flip our sign if we multiply or divide by a negative. So I'm going to move my 3x over here. So the opposite of the positive 3x is to subtract 3x. So that leaves me 2x plus 9 is greater than or equal to 7. Okay? Then since I'm adding 9 over here, I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. So that leaves me 2x is greater than or equal to a negative 2, because 7 minus 9 is 2. And now I divide both sides by 2, and I get the answer x is greater than or equal to a negative 1. Okay? So x is greater than or equal to a negative 1. And then, if I were going to graph this on the number line, I'm going to angle a little bit that way. I would make myself a number line. Here's 0. So I have over here negative 1. And since it is greater than or equal to negative 1, I'm going to make a circle. I'm going to fill it in because it includes negative 1 as a solution set. And since it's greater than, I would shade this way or make an arrow that goes that way. All right, so that's our first one. All right, so my second one is going to be 5x minus 1 is less than 2x plus 8. All right, so 5x minus 1 is less than 2x plus 8. All right, so I do the same thing, move my 2x over here. So 5x minus 2x is going to give me 3x minus 1 is less than 8. All right, so you see we don't do anything different with that inequality symbol. Now the next thing I'm going to do is add 1 to both sides. So I have 3x is less than 9. Divide both sides by 3. So I have x less than 3. Okay? Now, if I were going to graph this, same thing. I draw myself a number line. I put a 0 on the number line. And over here is going to be 3. So when I say x less than 3, this time I leave my circle open, because 3 is not included in my solution set like it would be. And then I'm going to shade everything this way because all of these are your numbers less than 3. So x less than 3 looks like that. All right, so we have 2 times x minus 8 and that's going to be greater than negative 8 plus 3x. Okay, so I need to distribute first since I have parentheses. So that's going to give me 2x minus 16 is greater than negative 8 plus 3x. Okay? Now, if you notice here, I know that I've taught you, you normally want to keep your variable over here on the left-hand side of your equation. Okay? So, when I do that, I subtract 3x from both sides. And that gives me negative x minus 16 is greater than negative 8. And I'm pretty sure we went over last week how to get rid of a negative variable, and we'll do that in a moment. But let's, for now, let's add 16 to both sides. So I bring down my negative x. Now, I have negative x is greater than negative 8 plus 16 is a positive 8. Now, here's what we need to remember. I don't want a negative variable. So, the way I get rid of a negative variable is what I do to one side, I have to do to the other, which means I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 1. And so when I do that, since I am multiplying or dividing by a negative, my sign flips. So I end up with x is going to be less than negative 8 for this one, because I'm multiplying both sides or dividing by a negative. Okay? So, all right, so there's 0 on my number line. There is negative 8. So if x is less than negative 8, it's going to be an open circle. And it's going to be everything to the left, because that's all my numbers less than a negative 8. All right, so let me pause this. All right, then my last one is going to be 3x plus 6 is less than negative 5 times x plus 2. All right, so same thing. Here's what I need to do here is I have parentheses over here, so I need to distribute. So that's going to give me 3x plus 6 is less than a negative 5x minus 10. Okay? So I need to move my 5x over here because I want to do the best I can to keep my variable on the left-hand side of the equation. So I add 5x to both sides. So that gives me 8x plus 6 is less than negative 10. So I'm adding 6, so I'm going to subtract 6 to both sides. So that gives me 8x is less than a negative 16. So my next step would be to divide both sides by 8. So I have x less than negative 2. Hope you can see that, x less than negative 2. All right, so there's my number line. There's 0. So here's -2. So x less than -2 means I have an open circle, and I'm going to shade everything to the left of that open circle. All right then, so next thing you have to do, there is a standard scientific notation, standard notation assignment for you to do next. Do that, make sure you upload a picture or scan your work to be on a separate sheet of paper. The scientific notation you can do right there on the Google Doc, and I will see you on Friday.